This is Swain reporting from Washington, D.C. at the Vietnam Veterans Against the War rally for KCSU-FM News. The Battle of the Mall has ended in total defeat for Richard Nixon. The commander-in-chief was outclassed, outgeneraled, and outfaced by 1,000 ragged anti-war veterans who slept at last in peace on the ground he had tried to deny them. The administration had fought by routing the shock troops to break the back of the spring peace offensive. But as has been said so often of Vietnam, where the veterans had fought, it was the wrong war in the wrong place at the wrong time. From the first, the administration had miscalculated the strength of the Vietnam veterans against the war. I don't think it could have been handled worse, raged a district court judge who had issued the first order to keep the troops off the mangy grass plot at the foot of the Capitol. The veterans looked like hippies, and the administration, perhaps recalling Mayor Daley, knows you can't go wrong chasing hippies. But these were hippies in combat infantry badges pinned below their knees and purple hearts swinging from their headbands. They had won the hearts and minds of the police, who had advised the administration that they were uncertain how the men would react to arresting veterans. It was plain from the first that the cops had no stomach for the prospect of loading double amputees and their wheelchairs into the wagon. The court injunction barring the Vietnam veterans from camping on the Capitol Mall was vacated late yesterday afternoon for lack of enforcement. U.S. District Court Judge George Hart Jr. reversed his original ruling to uphold the Justice Department's injunction and demanded the Justice Department go into court and explain why the injunction should be continued. After the Justice Department arrived 45 minutes late for their appearance and went into a rambling discussion why they failed to enforce the injunction, the court lambasted the Justice Department for misusing its legal machinery to its own ends. In his ruling to throw out the injunction, Judge Hart said, "No one has the right to choose what laws they are willing to obey or disobey, and no one has the right to choose which laws to enforce and which laws not to enforce." The court blasted the Nixon administration for degrading the federal judiciary system by taking a case to the Supreme Court and then refusing to enforce it. Last night, about 2,000 Vietnam veterans went on a 2-hour candlelight march around the capital city. Holding lighted candles and walking 2 and 3 abreast, the line stretched for 2 miles. At 10 o'clock this morning, the veterans began turning in their medals. The veterans filed by one and tossed their medals and ribbons over a temporary restraining barrier around the Capitol steps. The pile of medals on the Capitol steps grew larger, and the veterans were still filing by at 1 o'clock this afternoon. The delegation from Fort Collins read a list of 16 veterans who were turning in their medals but were unable to make the trip to Washington. Then the 10 Fort Collins veterans who were present tossed their medals on the Capitol steps. State Representative Ron Dellums of California also returned some of his medals. At 1:15 this afternoon, the Vietnam Veterans Against the War announced that Operation Dewey Canyon 3 was officially ended. Veterans could be seen packed in cars and buses and hitchhiking out of town, but the influx of protesters for tomorrow's predicted 300,000-strong mobilization demonstration made it difficult to notice the change, except for the absence of jungle fatigue shirts and army bedrolls. Many significant developments have come out of the week-long action here by Vietnam veterans. They defied the Supreme Court and won. They scoffed at the administration's accusations that few of them were actually veterans and proved that they were, in fact, all Vietnam veterans. They met their congressmen on their own grounds and returned the medals that Congress had given them. Hopefully, the veterans will have accomplished 2 things: to pave the way for future peaceful protests, and to lead the way to the first really positive action to end the war now. This is Swain reporting from Washington, D.C.